Okay, welcome back to the second part of the demo day on this cold December day. So we had a very short break only. Actually, the plan was to have a half an hour break. We had a good 10 or 15 minutes break. Only we saw 8 healthcare startups pitch. The startups were the startups from our first cohort or the first delegation that we organized together with CIF International and GIZ earlier in end of September. And we decided to have one consolidated demo day. So now this is the startups of the second delegation that we conducted last week itself. Yeah, so that would be in total 20 startups pitching today. 8 we had in the morning. Or afternoon in India, and 12 we have now. We also had some speakers in the morning for some inputs from the GIZ, from IT Startup Hub, and from NASCOM. And because we have more startups now, we're not going to have more speakers, but we'll have, more presentations from partners, but we'll move right away to the pitches. So as I said, 12 pitches, and my co-moderator Eileen will tell us a little bit more about what we can expect.
Yeah, we will have 12 pitches from Tech4Good companies, and each of the startups this time will pitch 4 minutes to you, followed by 2 to 3 minutes question. Please continue to use Slido, or who has not been with us until now. We're on our website. We have a tool named Slido. You can put in your questions. We will take up some question here and there. And I also would like, if you have not been with us until now, would like to introduce our jury right now, who is with us. It's Tina Nayak. She's the co-founder of Useristic. She's working with startup on their user cases and has been an integral part of the tour until now. She has been mentoring startups. She has been giving workshops to the startups of the tour. So thank you so much for joining us, Tina.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure being here.
Thanks. And also, you all know Klaus is staying with us. Klaus is the founder of the Innovation Labs Berlin. He has also been part of the tours. So thank you also for joining us and being with us once more here again. And then now, Julian, what can we expect? What is the first startup that will pitch to us?
The first one who's with us is Akshay Joshi here from Ambi. Akshay, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So
I hope you can see me and hear me.
We can also see you, yeah. So Akshay is the founder of Ambi. And what does Ambi do? They're building hyper-local climate intelligence. So I'm really curious to hear more about what Ambi does and what your plans are in future. So 4 minutes and the stage is yours. Are you ready?
I am. Thank you.
Wonderful. Over to you.
I'm just going to share my screen. Am I visible in full screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Akshay. I'm one of the founders at Ambi, where we're using climate change data to fight the effects of climate change. I'm not going to belabor on how bad it is. Climate change will kill us. In the next 20 years, you will have 50-degree summers in Germany. India will run out of water. We see floods every day. It's been 15 degrees in South India all of last month. It's the first time it's happened in maybe 30, 40 years. Humanity is at the brink of an extinction level event. There are real costs associated with this. 23 trillion is what it will cost the world in the next 30 years. In the next 5 years, 1/3 of all ESG, of all AUMs will be ESG. 75% of Fortune 500 companies have actually made a pledge to support data against climate change. And you know why they're doing it? This is why. We're falling this short. What we need to do by 2030, we're only 1/9 of the way there. 45% is still remaining. Now, one of the major problems with this is there's no data. There's no actionable data on climate change. Pick a city in the world, anywhere, New York, Berlin, anywhere, you don't know what live carbon dioxide emissions are. You don't know what GHG emissions are. It's all calculated on 1980s principles. This means there is no path to net zero. You don't know what's going to change. You don't know how much to change, and you don't know by when to change. That's where we come in. We accurately measure hyperlocal emissions in real time. We combine the power of on-ground sensing, satellites, weather, open source traffic. We have patented algorithms that look into this. We process over 3 terabytes of data each day. For a small startup, that's massive if you look at data processing. The end result is we have 1 by 1 kilometer grids anywhere in the world that give you hyperlocal greenhouse gas, environmental intelligence, air quality data in real time. This is what it looks like on a screen. If you have access to our product, you're able to pick advanced filters, whether they're emissions, whether they're temperature, whether they're hyperlocal weather. You can understand risk. This becomes super useful when you're looking at assets. Now, this is an example. If you were to have an asset in this place, whether it's a building, it's a warehouse, or a large resort, you could understand what climate change would do to you immediately over the next 10, 20, 30, in some cases, 70 years. We sell this data, obviously, to a bunch of people. We sell API call subscriptions to smaller companies. We have larger customers that look at contract for analytics and data in the long term, like I said, up to 70 years. We've just started negotiating with governments and legislations across the world because obviously now everyone needs this data. We're in position to supply it more accurately and cheaply than anyone else in the world. We have a bunch of customers in the private sector. The ones I'm allowed to disclose are these. You'll notice some of them are, of course, German. Bayer is someone we have a very good relationship with. They buy hyperlocal weather and pollen data for all their pharma needs. We sell to Nike. We have an insurance product with AXA. We're partners with Kleenex worldwide. We're also partners with Bosch and Airbus. Ventia is in Australia and New Zealand. They're one of the largest utilities managers there. They buy our data, again, to understand the effects of climate change. We are underfunded. We're the smallest by a large measure. We win contracts when we fight against these guys, which is why now we raise a much larger round of money. We already have all this data. We're building this into a completely integrated climate stack. We want to own proprietary data on climate anywhere in the world, be able to build solutions on it, whether it's personal risk, whether it's financial risk, insurance, all sorts of indices that we own, and we're able to disseminate from a single person to a large corporation or a government. Everyone should think of us as number one when it comes to climate. We're 3 co-founders. We've all lived and worked across the world. Jaideep and I actually moved back from the EU to India to start Ambi. Madhusudan, or Maddie, who is the brains behind all of this, actually built Ambi because his own son was almost dying from air pollution. That's when he realized whatever we're doing is not enough. We basically threw away our jobs and started building this from scratch. We've been loved across the world. We're accelerated by Google, by Techstars. We've won SDG awards. We're part of Picard Solar Impulse. We're part of the Fast Company's 20 most innovative companies around the world in 2020. This is just a small selection of them. In a nutshell, that's who we are. Thank you very much. And I'm open to questions at any time.
Thank you, Akshay. That was pretty insightful. I think you still have scope for being accelerated by a German counterpart. So I haven't seen this on the list. I think that should be your next step. But handing over to our jury if they have any questions. Please.
Yeah, Akshay, thanks a lot for your presentation. Great pitch. Maybe you can give us a little bit more specifics about what your customers, or maybe one customer that you can talk about, specifically uses your data for.
Of course. So we have a lot of data on a lot of climate factors. Let's look at Kleenex, for example. Kleenex is the world's largest paper products seller, tissue dispenser, etc. One of their major products that they've come up with this year, which you'll probably see in the EU right now, is an anti-allergen tissue. It's probably the first of its kind in the world. To understand the market for an anti-allergen tissue, they had to track pollen incidences across Europe, including how it affects people, which areas have higher pollen count than others. This was useful because they could then engage with customers in certain geographies better, where pollen counts were higher, people were falling more ill. Also help them prepare logistics better to ship better across countries, across geographies. So all this data was provided by us as a forecast as well as in real time. So the forecast helps them plan and ship. The real time helps engagement with customers. This is an example of how we help companies in consumer products increase market share significantly. So they saw a significant double point double percentage point increase in engagement and thus bottom line with this. We do similar stuff for pharma, for insurance. Those are, of course, more mission critical use cases that you need to be very accurate with. Consumer products, of course, have a larger leeway, but in overall sense, we treat accuracy as paramount. So it's all the same to us.
Building up on this, actually, there was a question from the audience. How accurate is your data? What is the source of data? And how do you ensure your data is secure and correct when you say you have 70 years of data?
Yes. So we do two things. How is it accurate? We give you free access. You can test it against whoever you want. That's a simple way to figure out accuracy. We will predict for a particular space what the data will be like over the next 3 to 5 days. You are free to compare it to a government monitor that is calibrated and certified. You will see that in 85% of the cases, we are 90+% accurate, up to 98%. That is our R-square correlation. We use a bunch of different algorithms and weightages for our data. Some of it is proprietary, including our own sensors. We have our own sensor networks, which really adds accuracy at a different level. I can't go into the details for obvious reasons. When you look at 70 years data, so what we do is we build historic data and that you can compare to existing data sources if you have any. 70 years predictive data, again, tends to be a bit of a black art. People who want it are happy with using current accuracy indicators as a metric to judge future accuracy.
Thank you so much, Akshay, and thanks for the pitch. And I think if there are any more questions in Slido, have a look as well to get these questions answered by yourself. And I would like to move to the next startup. And I'm a scooter driver myself, and often there is a challenge that I have to take 2 helmets with me, and Arvind Sethi actually is trying to solve this issue by integrating 2 helmets into one, so it is much easier to go around and you won't have the storage problems you usually have when you travel. So handing over to you, Arvind, to introduce your startup, and I already said a little bit about the solution, but your business model and your market entry expansion strategy to Germany.
Thank you so much, Ireland, for the nice introduction you gave me, and also to share with me that you are also a scooter enthusiast, and I'm really looking forward to sell my helmets over to you. So if please tell me when my screen becomes visible, and I'll stop talking, and if it is in slideshow mode. Okay, so what I would like to bring up is that Dual Safe Private Limited has been brought into existence because we want to deal with this problem which is being faced in multiple countries, and we had come out with world's first dual smart gear where we are trying to give the safety and convenience at the same time to our consumers. This problem is not only in India but in many countries. We'll come to those numbers later. We are looking forward to provide this innovative, sustainable safety headgear with built-in smart features so that you can really focus on to the road, and you're not thinking of something different or something which can cause accidents. And this particular helmet is easily convertible into 2. That is a niche thing which has been brought in, and it has never happened in the world ever. So you can call is to have 20% of headgear users in identified European countries, and I have picked up some surrounding countries also who can be adopting our disruptive products embedded with smart features. This is the glimpse of the team who has been able to work on this thing for the last 1 year, 8 months time. Going further, I want to little bit elaborate on the problem. So when we talk about the accidents and deaths, there is an alarming number which comes to our notice, which talk about that number of deaths are close to 70 or maybe more, 70% or more, wherever helmet is not involved or helmet has not been appropriately tied or helmet was something which is non-certified. And this is a huge number of deaths which are reported. I'm talking about only in Bangalore roads, which is from the data published on Times of India on 30th of September. So when we looked at this thing, and also what we see is that there is only one helmet, one place, but there is second provisioning for the co-passenger is not available at all. So we wanted to go into each of these problem statements and come out with one solution. That is what eventually we have been able to come out. Our initiative is to avoid any such facilities going further by resolving the limited space problem also. And in addition to that, whenever you are going around, once you're parked your two-wheeler, you have got one less thing to manage, and you can focus more, enjoy more your movies or your mall visits or anything else like that. So this is the product and the solution, which we are calling as innovation, because definitely it is answering to multiple problem statements. We are having a productive, well-integrated helmet that converts into two in less than 10 seconds or vice versa. This is the basic model. We are having a strong, safe, comfortable, and per industry standards. And when I talk industry standards, in India, ISI or BIS. In Europe, we have got, in EU countries, we have got ECE. In USA, we have got DOT and SNEL, and in Australia also. But our product is being put together for the countries where the common commute is with the scooters, which are between 100cc and 500cc. Anything beyond that, our standards may not be able to match the kind of sturdiness and the weight, etc., which is required to be put. But this kind of product guarantees extended life for the product also, because it is either in on the head or in the boot, nowhere else. So it is not falling off, it is not slipping off your hand, etc. This product category does not exist, so there is no competition. And we have filed the patent, which you might be seeing, patent pending, for not only two-wheeler, but we are going ahead and trying to go into other verticals eventually, not today. Rental companies, two-wheeler taxis, which is again auto, but mining, construction, oil rigs, sports like lacrosse, skiing, snowboarding. We can have this helmet for those various other domains also. I'll quickly touch upon the smart product features, where we are talking about advanced features which are going to have the inter-helmet communication made possible. Audible Google Map direction made possible. Three-way communication whenever there is a...
Your time is up, unfortunately. But thank you very much for the presentation. And I'll ask Tina or Klaus, is there any question? Okay, Tina, go ahead.
Hi, Arvind. Thank you so much for the presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Tina.
Super. This is a really interesting problem you're solving. My question to you is, in terms of market and adoption barriers, what are some of the barriers that you think will come for you in adopting your product? And how you're trying to solve them?
Very frankly, we have done a little bit of that study also, considering that we have involved the people from BIS already into while we were developing this product. Any barrier which might come from the Bureau of Indian Standards have been taken care of. And that way we are lucky that our consultant has been able to give us the requisite input. Other big barrier is keeping our patent protected across the nations where we want to go into. And that is the reason we want to get into Europe and India, launch it in India first, and then we'll slowly go into other countries. This is a product which we cannot say is not copyable, but we would like to see that how early and how quickly we are able to get into those countries where patents are respected.
Okay, Klaus, you had a question.
Yeah, thank you, Arvind. I don't know if it's possible, but would you be able to share your prototype, to show us your prototype? Number one, and then number two, what's your go-to-market plan that you're trying to work on?
I'm showing the number of countries which I'd like to target in case the entry is happening through Europe. Market plan is to have the B2B and B2C strategy, where we would like to talk to manufacturers, major two-wheeler players, two-wheeler rentals, taxi operators, and we have already initiated our talks with Hero and Ather in India. And also, you cannot stay away from B2C, wherein we are making our website enhancements and also go on to Amazon and Flipkart-like sites, which are marketplaces. So this is how we are like to initiate our targeting of the market. Am I audible?
Yes, you were audible.
And as Klaus requested, I'm quickly bringing up my prototype. So this is one helmet, which is having a protective layer, which is in the form of mesh or a cobweb. But you are able to remove this mesh and take it out. And please retain in mind that we are having a prototype only as of now, but you are able to have two helmets, and there is a locking mechanism which makes these two helmets get into each other, and you are able to find a locator, one place, and lock it from backside. The best part is unlocking mechanism is inside the helmet, so nobody from outside can open it. Like a kid sitting at the back may do a mischief and try to open, but there is nothing available which can open up your helmet. You will have to dig inside, press a button over there, and then take out the helmet, and this is back to 2 again. Now you're left with only one step, which is required to be taken care of, which is putting this cobweb once again back into the helmet and making it 2. So your 2 helmets are becoming 1 whenever you need it.
Okay, wonderful, Arvind. Thank you so much. In between, the connection was a little weak, but really interesting. So to the audience out there, if you're interested, reach out to Arvind directly or also through us, and we connect you. Because that is the idea of what we're doing today, or the goal, what we're doing today at this demo day. Now let's move to the next startup, which is called Eigenlytics. And the co-founder Prashant Kumar is with us right now to give us a short presentation of his startup. And what does Eigenlytics do? They are a B2B or B2G data solution company transforming the OCR, ICR landscape. Prashant, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. And thanks a lot for a quick introduction.
Wonderful. You're audible and your presentation is also visible. So the floor is yours. 4 minutes starts now.
Thanks a lot. So nice of you. So thanks all for this opportunity. We Eigenlytics Data Solutions, we are a deep tech startup, and we are revolutionizing the landscape of OCR ICR technology. And by that, what I mean basically, in order to put my point across, let me first take you to some of the use cases, and I'll be able to score the point in a much better fashion. So suppose if we have some unstructured and noisy documents, which currently is appearing in front of your screen. Now, this is say a classic case of an unstructured document. It's a legal document, which could be kind of formatted by any advocate, depending on the choice of their verbatim, the way they want to structure it. They can put the information in tables, they can put the information in paragraphs. There are so many noises that you could see in the document. Now, these are the typical documents which so far have been out of the purview of a templatized OCR, which generally has been just focusing in converting anything which is image-based to text-based. So what happens that these kind of documents are outside the purview of their automated processing. Now let me showcase another set of document, which is another image. Now, if you see this image, which currently I'm showing on my screen, it's a typical dirty document which has a lot of holograms, which is out of the purview of, again, our kind of a generic OCR algorithm, which kind of gets baffled by the level of noise which is present there. Now, if we are not able to automate these kind of documents, so ultimately the problem statement that we are talking about is that we cannot process them with our standard PDF readers. We cannot use the templatized OCRs. We cannot even access repositories, because then the repositories are meant for some certain level of information or certain categories of information, like your KYCs or your say credit reports. Not all kind of information like your medical record, your criminal records, not all are available in third-party repositories. So that becomes a problem, and ultimately everyone resorts to semi-automated or a manual data extraction, which is a costly affair, time-taking affair, and it is a big impediment to the automation. And hence, we have a solution proposition here where we are talking about dealing with these noisy and unstructured documents with our state-of-art product trained through general purpose artificial intelligence and machine learning. We call it DocEye. We are trying to mimic the human eye and brain coordination. And we are trying to provide output in a business ready manner so that it can be directly automated irrespective of the source of document, whether it's an email or ePDF or a printed scan or a handwritten document. The domain which we have been focusing primarily are the urban governance, BFSI, and logistics and automotive. All these domains are predominantly document driven. And again, I'd like to emphasize, when I say document, I don't only mean that it's the physical document. It could be an email, it could be a scanned avatar of your physical copies. So it could be in digital fashion also, but their reliance is very high. And moreover, if you want to tap the legacy of the gold mine, the data which is still residing, which could give a immense result in terms of your analytics and insights, that is something to be tapped, a gold mine to be mined. Talking about the market, it's a brilliant market with $9 billion worth market size, growing at a handsome rate of more than 17% cumulative average growth rate, means it will be a $27 billion market by 2028. And riddled by high cost, means if you look at the cost of AC, manpower, infrastructure, every document takes almost $2 to process. It takes almost 2 minutes to get processed. So it has immense leg room to bring down the cost, bring down the TAT. So there is a market potential which is waiting to be tapped. Now, if I talk about the scenario of competition, I would like to put it across in a fashion. Let's consider the metrics of the complexity and the use case fitment. So, yeah.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you because your 4 minutes are over. But I think our jury got the idea and also the audience. Thank you so much for this. And I'm handing over to Klaus or Tina, who would like to ask a question. Klaus, go ahead.
So what are you looking for from the audience, Prashant? You didn't get to that.
So currently I'm looking at two things, Klaus. First of all, someone in the audience who is riddled with these kind of problems, means automation of documents is a challenge when the category of documents are really tough nut to crack, the noisy ones, the unstructured ones. We have a ready solution to jumpstart. That's first argument that I like to put. I'm also looking forward to esteemed panel of investors there, because we are a highly R&D driven company and we need immense investment to keep up the curve. While we are not doing a rocket science, not reinventing the wheel, but we are doing something innovative, which has been kind of a gap in the market in terms of what OCR, ICR, or what we call as automated document processing has been missing or leaving outside the purview. So that's what I'm looking forward to cross.
Thank you so much, Prashant. And what is the amount of funding you're looking at or for?
So currently, so currently we are looking at funding of pre-series A, what we called as something around $2 million. The usage of the fund will be predominantly towards acquisition of the human power and infrastructure, which is accounting roughly for 90% of the total ask we are calling. We have a pretty good traction, so we don't see much of a requirement on the business development and administrative overhead side.
And then there was a question also from the audience. The person agreed with your solution, but was wondering, how are you going to commercialize this in India?
Sure. So if I have to talk about the business model, we have a pretty straight-jacketed transactional pricing model, wherein we agree for the unit rate of per mail or a per page of the document, depending on the volumes that we want to process, depending on the type of toughness or noisiness that is present. We agree on that, and then pure play transaction pricing comes into picture. So it could be as low as say a few cents up to say $1, depending on what ultimate output that is expected. And that's how we engage with B2B and B2G customers.
Thank you so much, Prashant. And I love that you have subtitles under There is a screen which I can even see my my words. Thank you so much, Prashant. And I would like to move forward to the next company. And it is actually by chance that this company has a German name. It's called Fabrik. But I think it wasn't really intended. But Puneet, who is the founder, I think can tell us a little bit more. And what is Fabrik doing? They have a no-code tool to build metaverses. But Puneet, I'm sure you can explain a bit more. What does this actually mean? So handing over to you. Puneet, are you with us? Yes, I can see you now. He's saying 1 second. You're still muted, Puneet.
Hey, is this better?
Yes.
Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Perfect. For some strange reason, it doesn't work without my headphones.
Yeah. Broken audio system probably. But handing over
Yes.
to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction, Eileen. And yes, we do have a German name, and I can retroactively fit an explanation, but let me just go ahead and share my screen. Let me know when my screen is visible.
We can see it. You can start.
Perfect. So good afternoon, everyone, and good evening to folks in India. I hope you're all safe and well. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Puneet. I'm the founder of Fabrik. Fabrik is derived from the fabric of space and time, and not though we are working in the machinery and assembly line space, which is Fabrik in German. So essentially, we all know that the future of all of our interactions, content, news, machine tooling, etc., is in the metaverse. That is a given. But what we do not know is how easy or difficult it is, and quite honestly, it's quite difficult to transition into that space. It is cumbersome, time-consuming, and expensive, right? And that's where Fabrik steps in. So Fabrik, as Eileen rightly said, is a no-code metaverse maker or a metaverse apps platform, where we are taking multiple use cases from across various segments, transitioning them into an interactive, immersive experience. Here is one example of a video of an oil rig that you can see on the video screen, where we are taking the entire oil rig, reimagining it as a 3D experience, starting with CAD drawings, taking real-time data from the field, overlaying it on the asset, and you are able to drill down further to see individual assets, what is wrong with it, overlay digital work instructions, and resolve various problem statements. And that's just one example. I can replace the oil rig with an automobile. I can replace it with an aircraft cockpit. I can replace it with a pump. I can replace it with absolutely anything on the planet, and it allows people to quickly create these metaverse apps. And that's a crux of what we do at Fabrik. Why are we chasing the business ecosystem? Is primarily because we're starting off with replacing paper. We have paper-based knowledge that exists around the planet in the form of brochures. When you're looking at pre-sales, when you're looking at manuals, when it comes to post-sales and so on, all of this doesn't scale. It is distributed around the world, but it really is very difficult to transition from that. And while most businesses know what the problem is, they do not know what to transition into until Fabrik, of course. And these are some of the success stories. Before I go a little deeper in my presentation, we worked with companies that are primarily multinational, some of it European, a couple of them German, Americans as well. Essentially, this is the same challenge, whether it is aviation, automotive, heavy engineering, smart cities. They want to transition away from paper-based modes, and we are able to solve those problems over the last 12 months. We're targeting, like I said, work instructions ecosystem, specifically the digital workplace. And we're starting with the specific component of digital work instructions, which is about $1.5 billion market in 2027. Our primarily key value proposition for our customers is, of course, right out of the box, it's convert 2D to 3D, which requires fundamental rethinking of how people consume knowledge, information, content, right? And along with that, the second most valuable thing is it's no code, which means a person who's working on a machine, who's writing notes on his diary, he doesn't have to. He puts it back into our ecosystem, which is instantly available for everyone else on the planet. And even better, the person who takes this diary and goes home after retirement, you lose that knowledge as it stands today, but now no longer. right? And it's very simple to scale and deploy, right? Runs on a smartphone, runs on a tablet, runs on a wearable pair of glasses, which makes it easily scale from devices today to devices in the future. And there are multiple competitors. We actually operate in a sweet spot across multiple ecosystems: work instruction platform, hardware devices, retail solutions, collaborative tools, and industrial use cases, where each one targets a specific solution. We actually encompass and say this is one solution fits all. This is a quick summary of the team. I have about 11 years of experience. This is the fourth startup that I'm a part of. Second as a founder, I founded Fabric in 2018, and there's the rest of the team focusing on sales and marketing. On the right side, you see a lot of accolades that we were fortunate enough to be a part of and win. We closed a 250K seed round a few months ago, and we'll use this to expand the team to achieve product and sales, and of course, get 10 recurring revenue customers over the next 12 to 18 months. Let me stop with the ask. This is my last slide, and we primarily want to enter Germany for customers and the joint go-to-market partnership, and of course, investors and inventors. We want to target through the Mittelstand ecosystem. Expert synergies as the pathway into the market.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Puneet. And I only let you finish the last slide because that would have been exactly the question I was about to ask. So yeah, thank you very much for this. Klaus or Tina, any questions? Oh, Tina mentored you, so maybe
yes.
We need a question from Klaus then.
A great presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
So you highlighted some customers that you're dealing with already right now. They seem like very technological driven solutions. What would your ideal customer in Germany look like? Could you describe that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So typically we work with, let me bring up that slide. We work with operational technology companies, which has been a mainstay of many European companies like Siemens, Airbus, ABB. While these are customers we work with, initially we want to start with someone who's probably a tier 2 or a tier 3 supplier to an Airbus, rather than working directly with Airbus. That allows us to solve a specific small problem and partner with them and then scale, rather than going directly to Airbus. Let's say in Toulouse, we want to work with one or two of their vendors in the tier 3 space, and then go to tier 2 and tier 1. And hence, and that's the reason I mentioned the Mittelstand, because I know a lot of companies in the Mittelstand produce these very high-end, unique products that sell globally, and becomes easy for us to work with them to begin with, than going to bigger players in the first go.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Puneet. Let's move to the next presentation, since I can see that we are running already a little behind schedule, but we're all doing it for fun, for the great benefit of the presentation. So I think it's also fine that it takes a little more time, because we really want to give you the stage and the opportunity to present yourselves, and the audience, of course, to also get to know you better. To the audience out there, please make sure to use the Slido tool also for questions if you have. Now, let me announce the next startup. Havish is hopefully with us. I can see he's sharing already his screen. Havish Srinath is the co-founder of Infiction Labs, and they're building robotic solutions for the solar industry. Havish, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can also see your screen. Are you ready?
Obvious. Yeah, amazing. I'm good to go.
Okay, wonderful. Then the floor is yours. 4 minutes starts now.
Thank you so much. Hello and good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank everyone at Team Ginsep and Cefe Academy for their invaluable mentoring over the last week. My name is Havish. I have with me my teammate Gurdeep, and we are the founders of Infiction Labs, a robotic startup based out of Bangalore, India. And without further ado, let me jump straight into my presentation. Climate change is real. It's happening really fast, like my dear friend Akshay illustrated. And it is critical that we find a scalable source of clean energy ASAP. Solar energy is the front runner of sustainable energy right now, but pretty soon it is going to hit a point of inflection. Here is a short story why that might happen. One of my uncles had a 2-acre warehouse. About 5 years ago, he was approached by a solar contractor with a sweet deal that said, invest 1 million euros today and earn 300,000 euros every year for the next 25 years. Impressed, my uncle said yes. However, the contractor conveniently forgot to mention the maintenance. And unsurprisingly, my uncle's revenue fell in the next couple of months because dust on the solar panels reduces generation. Like any other plant owner, he hired a manual cleaning contractor. And one day he went by his plant to witness this. Say hi to Spider-Man from India. Jokes apart, that poor chap, about 50 feet above ground level, has neither the training nor the safety to be up there. And essentially, this is the state of solar panel cleaning. It is labor intensive, B, it is expensive, C, it is extremely dangerous. Back to the story, my uncle called me and said, hey, you guys are engineers, do something about this. And then I got my team together, we started talking, and voila, we had arrived at our $1 million idea. We spent the next 5 years developing Spark. Spark 1.2 is an autonomous robotic cleaner that can go about the solar plant cleaning solar panels with almost zero human intervention. The market is extremely huge. It is set to reach €1 trillion very soon. Global market on solar panel maintenance is at 30 billion euros. European Union spends 1.3 billion euros, and Germany alone spends 300 million euros on panel maintenance. Simply put, solar market is the new California gold rush, and we provide the shovels and picks. Of course, there are a lot of solutions out there. There are some that are not effective but have a quicker ROI. There are other European solutions that are very effective but have a very slow return on investment. Spark is as effective as its European counterparts and has a 3 times quicker time to return on investment. How is that possible? Simple. The mission of Spark is to completely automate the maintenance of a solar plant. For this, it uses a combination of autonomous machines. For instance, if the autonomous cleaner is cleaning the panels of an array, an autonomous transporter T2 transports the cleaner from one panel array to another, thus fulfilling the mission of Spark. We are offering Spark as a product right now, but in the next 3 years, we are going to migrate to a services model wherein we offer Spark as a robot as a service, as an end-to-end subscription to all our clients. And we have had a long road. I'll simplify this. Over the last 3 years, we commercialized Spark in late 2019, and over the last 3 years, despite the pandemic, we have done 10 pilots and generated revenue of about 35,000 euros and have letters of intent amounting to about 150,000 euros. This is us. I'm Havish. I have with me my teammate Gurdeep. I'll ask him to say hi later. We have 2 more founders, Manjunath and Deepak. Manjunath takes care of the technology and Deepak the legal matters of the business. We have been accelerated twice, once by Brink and Mal. We have an Australian VC Artisan backing us and who has promised us follow-on funding. Collaboration is key to tackling climate change. That's what we believe, and we are open to find synergies wherever we can find them and collaborate. We are right now raising a seed fund of 1.5 million euros, of which some of which will go into product development, some of which into R&D, and most of it into generating traction. We have a milestone to clear, that is 1 million euros by the end of 2022. That's it from my side. This is my uncle, by the way, and he's very happy with the solution. And it is our mission to deliver every stakeholder in the solar industry to that state of contentment and completion and make solar energy sustainable in the end. Thank you so much for your gracious listening. Floor is open for questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Avish. Infection Labs, Tina or Klaus? Tina, a question.
Hey, Avish. Hello from, I used to live in Bangalore, so super happy to hear your pitch and all other Bangalore founders.
Nice.
And
Nice
I love your energy, so much power, just like the sun. And
thank you.
I just wanted to ask, I wasn't quite clear as to who your user is. Are you B2C or B2B? And I see you've done a few pilots which have monetized. How is your plan? Like, are you planning to go B2B route first or do both? I think that would be really helpful for me to understand.
Yeah, we are definitely not direct B2C. Our beachhead market is the commercial rooftop solar, which is at least about 400 kilowatts, which are on these big factories or warehouses, right? They are pretty commercial. It's straightforward B2B. The second market that we are targeting is the utility space, which is either governments or big power producers like Azure or even Shell. The third is a B2B2C, wherein we want to concentrate on domestic solar. But we don't want to sell it to the houses or the consumers, but we want to sell it to maintenance contractors that are maintaining rooftops and facades of these houses. So that's our plan.
Thank you so much.
Just one more thing. For the energy, you have to complement Klaus. It's all Klaus is mentioned.
Thanks also for the compliments, and we were so happy to see you finally without a mask, because you were following all the protocols in your company very well. And I would now like to move forward from Havish to Avnish. Avnish Kumar is the co-founder of Live and Sense, and he's trying to solve the net zero challenge. He's already working also with a couple of big corporate. I think it was Skoda. Avnish, the stage is yours.
Yeah, no, thanks. I'm really pleased to have this opportunity. Let me take that 4 minutes and cover my story pitch. So what we are doing, as mentioned, is addressing the net zero challenge for the industrial decarbonization. That's what we are doing it. And let us give some statistics why we are doing it and what is our mission. So we are solving for our own survival, because we will not be able to survive with the kind of 33 gigatons of pollution which is there today from the manufacturing plants, and the sources are all from power sector, petrochemical, steel to aluminum industry, and even the other industries like cement, etc. So that's what we are working on, because this is industries are not capable of moving from fossil fuel sources to an alternative source. Even for the power sector, it is going to take much longer time to transition to fully green energy sources. And that's where we come in and we try to retrofit our green ops solution to help them reduce the industrial CO2 emission. So how do we do that? This is the solution. So the 3-step process, we actually improvise the entire process value chain, where the losses are there due to process inefficiencies, due to energy losses in the value chain, and finally taking care of the decarbonization across the high value equipments like furnaces, boilers, or heat exchangers, where the combustion efficiency leads to heat losses. So this is what we do in 3 steps. And the key challenges which is there today, specifically post-pandemic, is even the variability in the materials, labor, and the operation, because that can cause downstream process fluctuation. And the other bigger challenges today, most of the OEMs are having proprietary solution and only catering to the silos. So until the data is all captured and brought to a single platform, and a hybrid approach is taken, which is all the way from mathematical and thermodynamics models to the advanced AI/ML models, there's no solution towards the net zero. And that's what we are trying to do differently here. So just to give that impact which we are trying to bring, there are as I said, in 3 steps, the $200 billion today is an opportunity loss in terms of revenues for the continuous process industry, be it petrochemical, chemical, or metal industries. In addition to that, the 25 to 30% of energy losses gets into the entire value chain, which I explained, the whole combustion value chain from feed to the furnaces. And finally, all this adds to the gigatons of carbon emission. What we have seen from our experience, even a 1% reduction in the energy intensity of the furnaces can lead to more than 100 metric tons of GHG emissions. And that's what we are doing it. We are actually making the impact in megatons. And this is what is our platform. This is the unique features. We bring real-time process optimization along with decarbonization across the whole continuous process value chain. We work across oil and gas, chemicals, and metals. Already we are production deployed across more than 5 customers in US, India, and we are doing pilot with another 5 customers. So this is some of the examples of chemical to petrochemicals, both in downstream, upstream, and smelting. We have been giving the ROI in the range of somewhere around 20 to 30%. And the very first month itself, we are able to deliver 5% of carbon reduction, that is GHG carbon reduction. And this is the platform is a plug and play approach, a PaaS-based approach, which can be deployed in as a service model. It provides real-time data integration. It is capable of doing the automated tax generation, specifically for the green compliance, and the KPIs can be built quickly using the 100+ AI models, which has been patented and built by us for this for the various use cases. And this is one of the success example I just wanted to share with. This is one of the largest ethylene plant where we have deployed the, just to give the statistics, the amount of CO2 that can be.
Avnish, I'd have to have to interrupt you here. I'm sorry, the time is up.
Okay, sure.
But I have a question for you. So what are you looking for in Germany?
So we are looking to go to market and expand our solution to Germany. So we are looking for setting our base as well as go to market and raising the fund as well.
Okay, and any specific or concrete plans or steps where to go in Germany and how to enter the market?
Yeah, so we are looking at Munich, though it is a bit expensive, but that's where most of the industrial factories are there, and that's how we believe that should be the right approach, place for us.
Okay, wonderful. Gina or Klaus, any question?
Who's your competition?
Yeah, so our competition are mostly the tier one companies like Honeywell and Schneider, but here we see the opportunity space is quite large, and we are doing complementary to what they are doing in terms of adding value and ability to improve on the process further. So we are able to give 5 to 10% improvement over what they are doing because we are more focused around the combustion efficiency.
So then it's good that we today have a competitor from Honeywell watching the pitches as well. Maybe they will reach out to you.
Yes, sure. So I can just show the competitions which we have considered here, and this the data from what we have analyzed based on what today Siemens, Honeywell, and various other companies are doing. There's a couple of startups also which we have considered.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Avnish. To the audience out there, if you're interested, reach out to Avnish directly or through us to them. We'll also circulate and share, of course, your pitch, your presentation later on through our channels. Now let's move to the next startup, which is called Ongil. Ajit Sas Namam. I'm sorry for the pronunciation of your last name. I think that is not correct. Ajit Saharasaranam. Is that correct?
Even I struggle. There are no worries.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, you're the founder of Ongil. You're helping enterprise with data-driven e-commerce decisions. Okay, can you shed some light on this? So what do you do and what are you looking for in Germany?
Absolutely. Can you see my screen and video? Can you hear me clearly?
It's a white screen for now.
Oh, okay. Just a minute. I'll just.
Meanwhile, Ajit, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Sahasranamam. Yeah.
Oh, so I was not too close. I'm sorry.
Can you see my screen now? Is it better?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect.
We're good to go.
Thanks for that. So we have Ongil, and what we do is we help enterprises achieve disruptive e-commerce growth with data-driven decisions, especially when no data is available. So this is in 2019 and in the pre-pandemic era, and these were the kind of the most frequently bought items from my home on Amazon or other e-commerce marketplaces. Of course, like electronics, books, electrical appliances, and we didn't venture beyond that. But COVID came on board, and then once that happened, then we started buying a lot more items. We started buying mattresses online, which we never imagined we would. We bought shampoos, conditioners, cookware. I mean, I became a parent, so big thing, and let's say clothes, sneakers, I mean, name it. I mean, like grocery, home appliances, luggage, and so on and so forth. Everything that we started buying online. Of course, we were not alone. So in 2019, the overall e-commerce sales was roughly around $3.3 trillion. And this became $5 trillion in 2021. So it is like a 50% growth. Now, how does this giant machinery, like the e-commerce machinery, work? Let's say I go online, I buy something on Amazon, Flipkart, Walmart, or whatever. And then let's say once I buy it, then they go to the manufacturer already, let's say there is in the warehouse, and then they deliver me the goods. So I pay the e-commerce marketplace. E-commerce marketplace directly or indirectly pays the manufacturer or the brand, and the brand or e-commerce marketplace delivers me the goods. Now, on the other hand, how does the data travel in the same flow? Now, of course, the e-commerce marketplaces, be it Amazon or Walmart, they know everything about me. They know when I kind of wake up, when I kind of go to sleep, which products I browse, which products I kind of browse and don't buy, what are the products I buy together, and many, many more things. On the other hand, what is the data that they give to the manufacturers? Essentially, how many products of theirs got sold in a particular day. That's all. Now with this, there is this, as you can imagine, a huge data inequality based on which these manufacturers have to make decisions. And that is where Ongil comes into picture. We make available more data to bridge these gaps to the manufacturers. So before Ongil, the manufacturers, they were not manufacturing brands. They were not able to know who their customers were. What is it that they bought apart from their products? What is the overall category looking like and how are they growing within the category? What are the new emerging product trends? And where is it that they stand in terms of, let's say, their digital shelf presence? Now with Ongil, they are also able to answer questions like, how am I growing with respect to the category and the competition? When my customers buy my product and what else do they buy? And what are the optimal pricing and promotion strategies I should follow? Are there new product opportunities? And how to improve my digital shelf presence? So how do we do it? We score the World Wide Web for a variety of signals from multiple sources. We use machine learning to cleanse and structure the data. Once we structure the data, we use artificial intelligence to derive insights out of it. So these are some of the customers we work with. So we serve them across multiple categories and multiple countries. And we help them anywhere from pricing and promotion data to new product strategies. So as you can see, we serve our customers across 15 countries and 30 platforms. One big chunk is missing here, which is Europe, and which is what we hope to achieve with this discussion. And our customers like what we do. So the Unilever has to say this about us. We help them monitor their pricing and promotion strategies across Southeast Asia to maximize their channel potential and growth. So this is our team. So I am Ajit and I'm the CEO. And I have Srini, who's the CTO, and he used to head a lot of companies which required and used a lot of data. And then we have, apart from our other team members, we have Mr. Lakshminarayanan, who's an advisor, and he is formerly the Emeritus Vice Chairman of Cognizant Technology Solutions. And I would be happy to receive any questions or reach outs in this email ID. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajit. I was just wondering on this map, where is Europe? And then you explained it. It's not yet there, but we hope to cover it. Tina, I think you have a question for Ajit.
Hi, Ajit. I must say I love the storytelling. Very, very engaging. So my question to you is, I see customers like Unilever and large, PepsiCo. Thank you very much. Are you only targeting large companies like this, or is it also the smaller? Because if you're looking at Amazon, there are also a lot of the small businesses as well, or middle ones. And since you deal with data, my question is, and if you're coming to Europe, data protection is going to be, even if there is a top beyond number one, Europe is very particular about that. So how do you look at data protection and data leakage, especially knowing that I know for a fact that even Amazon data gets leaked outside? So
thanks for the question. In fact, I wanted to mention that in my presentation. So one, I would say, nice thing about our product is we don't have any personal data. Whatever data that we collect is data that is already available online. We have absolutely no idea what an individual is buying or doing and everything. So it is just the data that the customer sees is what we collect. The differentiator is like how our algorithm is able to make sense of it and provide these insights. That is the first point. So if at all anything, we kind of are looking to support companies in a cookieless world where they don't track individuals. That's what we do. The second aspect is with respect to other sellers. Yes, we are in fact, we are already working with quite a few smaller sellers there. But let's say right now at the scale that we are in, we are currently working with all these Fortune 500 companies. We are beginning to work with Fortune 1000. And then we are looking to kind of expand our horizons. The reason being that at the current moment, let's say these companies, they already have an infrastructure in place to consume the insights and derive value out of it. But we see more and more companies starting to warm up for analytics. And especially in the European market, we're looking to work with mid-sized companies somewhere between $200 million and $1 billion in revenue. So that they'll have enough infrastructure to make use of our insights. I hope that answers your questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the information you gave in terms of how about the cookie-less data, I think that's a very, very, very important piece of information in your pitch. So be sure to include it in future. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much. I will. Yeah.
Thank you, Ajit. I also loved your presentation, but would like now to move forward to a women co-founder, which is Suruchi. Suruchi has actually set up also biorenewables, and it is providing hydrogen recovery as a service. So totally a green startup. But Suruchi Rao, handing over to you to give a presentation what you are exactly doing.
Thank you so much, Eileen. I should be presenting my pitch, but I have a feeling I'm going to have technical issues. Can you just give me 1 second though? I'm going to quit and reopen. I just had a software update. Had to be me who was to glitch. Just give me 1 second, please.
No problem. I think in the meanwhile, we can say that you are also one of the hardware products, right? You have a hardware product, so not IT solution.
Yeah,
but maybe we should then, or Suruchi, we can move then forward to the next one, and then you will give the presentation afterwards. Then I would rather hand over right now to Vaidi. And what is Vaidi doing, you, Julian?
So let's hope that Vedyanathan is ready with PAQS Smart. An inhaler for self-management of respiratory illnesses like asthma, COPD by leveraging IoT and machine learning. So I see Vedyanathan is ready, so that would be great if you go ahead now, and then we'll take up Suruchi right after you.
Yeah, thank you, Jinsep team. Suruchi, thanks for giving this. You'll be next. Thank you, Jinsep team, once again. I'm Vaidi from PAX, Personal Air Quality Systems. The company got founded due to a specific incident. My friend's daughter, she was an asthmatic. She went for a winter evening party. She had forgotten to carry her inhaler. She had an acute attack, and the girl didn't come back. That hurt me to try and see, can I create a smart inhaler? When I scanned the market of respiratory care devices, I found that it's a $20 industry growing at a good rate. And as regards the smart inhaler, that had not taken off, and that is expected to grow to 1.5 billion euros by 2027. In India also, the market is expected to grow steadily. So the attempt was to try and make a smart inhaler. So what have we done? We have created a smart inhaler by having edge and cloud intelligence, sensors, data MCU, along with the inhaler, and of course, cloud-based algorithm and the intellect coming in there, ML-driven. So the key innovations are we concurrently map the microenvironment an individual is exposed to as the ambient environment, capturing the usage physiological factors, and the backend does context-aware computing based on the multiple parametrics measured. Thus, we are able to provide a personalized advisory. So, in effect, it helps a better self-management of asthma and enhanced health outcomes. This is a schema of the whole thing. The cloud is a huge engine, more about that later. It enhances medication compliance, drug delivery, inhaler management. These are the regular calendar features, but continuously maps my exposures, triggers, provides alerts for hostile environment, and provides value-added analytics. The key point is, this is an inhaler. In the inhaler, I don't touch the medication. It's only the hardware that has been changed. We have a ready app available. As regards the competition, we have competition from Europe, America, and Australia. We have mapped all the competition, but the key point is we have cited these competitors in our US patent. We have been granted our smart inhaler patent and the adjacent patents. So we believe that we have a unique value proposition because we have the features available cited in the patents. Okay, we are a niche company in the cusp of green tech and healthcare with a robust IoT architecture, and we have a decent B2B market presence with marquee customers. The current run rate is about 180,000 euros we are making. We are a bootstrap company. The promoters have invested about 350,000 euros. We have a terrific team, finest of the universities in the world, and the professionals, you will see that. And we have marquee customers, some of the logos you may recognize, and we are doing device for one another MNC also. So as regards the smart inhaler business, we expect to grow to a 20 million euro company in about 5 years' time, for which we are in the market for funding. We are seeking about $1 million to get some level of app downloads and the 100,000 SIs. This will be followed by the follow-up round of about 3 million euros over 18 to 24 months to get to about 500,000 smart inhaler users. We are looking for strategic types with pharma companies in Europe, and of course, the most important reason for talking about Germany is Germany has been cutting-edge product innovator country in the world. So we want to tie up with German companies to strategically take the product to the world. We want to work with the funding for EMA, FDA approvals and clearances, and of course, get the team part of it. As regards the team, I've been an entrepreneur. This is my third venture, 2 successful exits. We have founders who are all from the finest universities, Carnegie Mellon, Sardar Uppsala, MIT, and tremendous experience in various atmospheric sciences and related things. The key point, if I may say, is, as I said, we are a green tech company, green tech, health tech, and with the IoT backbone. So we have the domain knowledge for electronics, software engineering, ML and AI, and of course the domain knowledge about AI. We are a meaty Indian ministry fund grant received. We are in the, we got funding for the trials. Yes. Thank you. I'll be happy to take the questions.
Thank you so much, Vaidi, and thanks a lot for the inputs. I didn't know you have already 2 exits. Congratulations to that. Are there any questions from the jury? I think Klaus has one.
Yeah, Vaidi, thank you. Brilliant presentation. Vaidi, are you planning to manufacture the device yourself?
The core of the product design and the ESDM, the circuitry will be ours. We will want to do the perfect microelectronics with a collaborator, maybe make it in Taiwan or any other place if India doesn't offer the economics. The key point is to get value proposition to the end customer. Like, for example, if it will be Germany, we are targeting a price point of about 85 to 100 euros, which will comprise a hardware plus the annuity cost put together. Our business model is not a hardware alone, but the value-added solution by way of advisories and analytics. This is our product. We don't touch the medication. Please.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vaidi, for the insight. And then I would say we move now next to Suruchi. I hope she has solved her IT problems.
Thank you, Ginsep team. It's been a wonderful 1-week experience. Tremendous insights. Thank you. And thank you, co-participants. Fantastic. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we were really happy to have you also on board and contributing. Thank you so much. Suruchi, are you ready?
I'm ready, and thank you so much, Vaidi, for fitting in, and I apologize.
No problem at all.
Okay.
Thank you, Vaidi. I'm hoping everybody can see my screen.
Yes, we can now.
Fantastic. As Eileen kindly mentioned, we are a bioenergy company. We're based out of Bangalore. And instead of complicating matters too much, how we look at ourselves is simply as a company that helps provide hydrogen gas to process industries. I'm sure everyone in the audience is thinking, especially someone from Honeywell, oh, there's a lot of people doing that already. So what are you doing differently? What we do differently from other hydrogen manufacturers is that we use wastewater available at process industry site as the feedstock for hydrogen gas. Why should we do that? Is there any advantage? Yes, there is unfortunately a reason why hydrogen isn't a popular alternative to fossil fuels. In fact, when you, if you were to simply do a Google search for how quickly is hydrogen going to be available to fuel my cars, even in a country like Germany, which is quite mature in its hydrogen life cycle, you will still find that the answer is somewhere between 2030 and 2050. Akshay did a very good job talking about the existential crisis we all find ourselves in right now. Effects of global warming are here. It isn't something that, there isn't a forewarning to it. We're right in the middle of it. So if you're waiting until 2030 to have a carbon-free fuel available as an alternative to fossil fuels, doesn't bode really well. One of the heaviest polluters on this planet happen to be process industries. Unfortunately, we can't do away with them. We shouldn't. Each one of us should be given a fair economic chance to progress. So what do we do? Do we really have to wait until 2030? No, we don't. That's where OSIS comes in. We have found a way to make hydrogen available on site, on demand for process industries today without having to wait a couple of decades. And the reason for that is that we use wastewater already available on site. So we are part of the circular economy where we take carbon from the wastewater, which would typically once again have ended up in the environment as CO2, and we capture that and convert that into hydrogen gas. And the way we do that is via a bioreactor, a render of which you see on the slide here. Because of this device, what we do is that we minimize the distance between the point of use and point of production of hydrogen gas, making it an alternative fuel for fossil fuels today without having to wait, and also cutting down the price of hydrogen gas, which is the most prohibitive thing for businesses to move over from the use of fossil fuels. The way in which the reactor works is that it uses microorganisms to selectively target the carbon content of wastewater. So the secret sauce, so to speak, of our device is the way in which we select for these microorganisms. Each reactor has a specific group of microorganisms that is dependent on the source of the wastewater. So it's not one size fits all. And most importantly, what happens is the result of the hydrogen production is that the water is also cleaner now and is available for reuse on site. So for a process industry client, we're able to offer them improvements in their carbon footprint by lowering their carbon footprint, and we improve their water map by saying, hey, don't take any source of fresh water and have that become a burden on environmental resources and the local community. Reuse the water that you've already put into your plant over and over again, thanks to this reactor, which also produces hydrogen gas simultaneously. In the irony of all ironies, when we started the company, we were incubated by a Shell program based out of India called the EFO program. And typically people ask us, if a fossil fuel company is funding you. We would say that's absolutely the right space for us to be. They also have an existential problem and we help solve that. Since then, we've sort of expanded across the Indian steel sector, and now we're looking at FMCG chemicals, which basically implies that we are targeting the 1% of process industries, the ones who have large manufacturing sites and who have several 100,000 liters of wastewater produced each day. Quickly talking about our track.
I would have to interrupt you here. I'm sorry, but the time is
up. We've run out of. Quickly moving on to. Let me just finish off by saying, if you're in the audience today and you think you have source of wastewater that can go into hydrogen, please contact me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. Suchi, thank you very much. And that particular slide was very interesting because my question would be particularly, now that you rounded off, okay, what are you looking for in Germany, or what you said, what can also bring to the German process industries? So what is your look at Germany? What are you looking for? What is your next step or your plan?
So typically we work with, like I mentioned, we work with process industries, and we've been incubated by, accelerated by Shell, and we're working with large steel companies like Tata Steel for one of the primary reason being that it's an expensive piece of technology. And it requires industry partners who understand the value that the product brings rather than the cost of the reactor itself today, and see the opportunity present in transitioning over to hydrogen gas without relying on water splitting, the only green way to produce hydrogen. So we're looking for ecosystem partners, accelerator programs, or even corporates who want to do that first deployment. One such deployment that we recently completed with Tata Steel means that we're using their help to move to Germany. But we're also looking for other partners out there who understand the value of having hydrogen available on site, on demand in Germany.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Klaus had another question.
Sure.
Integrating your technology into one of these plants, can you give us a sense for how long that takes?
Sure. Let me walk you through what would typically be the life cycle of an engagement, as you've got down to a very important point. Typically, the catalysts that go into the reactor have a development period. So say you're a customer that we have who's decided that I have enough carbon content in my wastewater for this to be techno-economically meaningful for hydrogen gas generation. We would then take somewhere between 3 to 6 months to develop the biocatalyst, depending upon how complex your wastewater is. Once the 3 to 6 months period is done and we have the catalyst available, we come to your site with a reactor, and then we have anywhere between 1 month to 6 months for me to hand over the device to you. So you integrate it with your process control system, you train your own people. The reactor is completely automatic for safety reasons. No one should be around anything that generates hydrogen gas, but it also means that it needs to be integrated with your process control systems on site, and personnel around need to be trained as to what to do in moments of emergency. So anywhere between 6 months to a year is our typical engagement with startup, engagement with process industries. But of course, the journey continues. We have a PaaS model as well, where every time there's an improvement to the biocatalyst or the reactor, you're in a service agreement with us, and we do that for you. Come upgrade it on the site. Because obviously these are extremely lengthy projects. They go anywhere between 5 years to 20 years, depending upon how much wastewater you have available at your site.
Sochi, thank you very much for elaborating on that.
Thank you.
Tina, do you have any questions? Okay. So wonderful. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
And we'll come to the last 3 startup pitches of today. So that means out of total 17 we have seen so far, including the session in the morning, and 9 we had now in the second. So now the last 3, and the next one in line would be Sachin Garg, the co-founder of Sara, an intelligent e-commerce returns reduction and automation company. Sachin, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, and I can also see you. Wonderful. Are you ready to present?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. Then over to you, and 4 minutes start now.
Guten Tag, everyone. My name is Sachin, and I'm founder and CEO of Sara. Sara helps e-commerce businesses reduce and automate returns, helping improve circular economy. Let's look at the problem first, right? I mean, in e-commerce, the return rate is very high, and Germany is the #1 in that. Almost up to 55% of goods sold online are returned. And managing returns is a nightmare for every company, including well-established one like Amazon. And more than half of the products which are returned are never sold again. That's a huge problem for all the e-commerce businesses. So there are some solutions already in the market which are more about returns management. They just help you manage them. They don't reduce. Their pricing is very, very crazy because they charge typically per return. Return is already a loss for you as a business, and then you end up paying more for managing return, right? And there is no sustainability angle to it at all. So we have launched a product called Eco Returns. Eco Returns is a product which directly plugs into any Shopify or WooCommerce store. And we are going to support a lot many more platforms as we go along, which helps the e-commerce seller reduce, automate, and actually eventually monetize those products, which come back. We use a lot of AI and behavioral science to really understand the consumer behavior, so that the consumer is still happy, but at the same time, business is happy and the environment is also happy. This market is really big. Almost $500 billion worth of goods were returned last year alone. When I look at my own sister, when she has to buy a jacket, she buys 4 and keeps 1 and returns the remaining 3. So you can understand the kind of size you're talking about. From a timing standpoint, I think one of the other gentlemen covered it very, very nicely that e-commerce today is growing very rapidly because of COVID. And the world is moving from Amazon days to direct to consumer brands. A lot of new brands coming up every day. And I think we all are much more environmentally conscious as compared to what we were about a few years back. So we started in 2019, but first few months we were really discovering the market, thinking about it. We went through SAP.ia program. We launched our product only about 4 months back. And in 4 months, we have acquired over 50 customers. And our goal is to, by next year, by third quarter of next year, we want to get to 1,000 customers, who will be using our solution. We use a lot of AI, which helps our solution become much more powerful than anybody else in the market. We have figured out a patent pending way by which we can actually do re-commerce, which is about selling the old goods again without any logistics or greenhouse effect being involved. And that's why we focus on sustainability. And our pricing is also very different than anybody else because we charge businesses when they are able to sell successfully rather than when they have to deal with the return. The revenue model is more like a SaaS model. We are a completely digital solution. We charge per store, per item which is shipped. And then if we enable a third-party transaction, in that case, we make some extra money. The team is based in India and US along with me. So this is my third venture. I have built 2 and I had 1 successful exit. The second one is still running. And Gary is based in Denver, and I have Lalit, who is ex-Techstars. I poached him from there. He's our CTO, VP Technology. We are a venture-backed company. We're backed by 0 to 1 capital, 9 unicorns, and Techstars. And that's all about us. We are in Germany to look for partners, customers, and in medium term, maybe potential investors as well. Please reach out to me at successor.io or these numbers if you want to talk to me in more detail. Thank you. Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Now I can.
Okay. Klaus, a question?
Yeah, Sachin, thanks for your presentation. Very, obviously a very big problem that you highlighted. So my question, Sachin, is around. Now I lost my line of thought. Yeah, on your customers, maybe can you give us a specific example of what the value is that you created in terms of returns or something like that?
Sure. So first is that we target a segment which is typically under $25 million in revenue. We are not going after larger customers at this moment. And in many cases, we have seen that we have been able to reduce their return rate by over 30% already. So when we reduce return by 30%, it adds to the bottom line by at least 6 to 8%, depending on the category. So that's kind of profitability we are able to create for our customers.
Very cool.
Okay, Sachin, I also got a question from the audience. Someone is asking, don't you think there is a logistics handling problem?
Oh, yes. The reverse logistics is a major issue, right? That's why we have a patent pending system by which there will be no requirement of logistics at all in many, many cases. Also, from a seller perspective, many a time seller doesn't even know why the return is happening. It's not just about the return reason. The logistics could be the primary reason as well. And he just doesn't know. So we bring in that kind of data into our system so that first of all, you understand, is it your product which is causing problem? Is it the customer or is it the logistics provider? So we bring transparency and accountability all together into the chain so that you can reduce it and then eventually, cut down your losses.
Okay, I say, I hear Tina actually mumbling and nodding. So any question or any comment on that?
I just wanted to say I just love this idea. And I'll just tell you, in Germany, I sometimes order stuff and it gets delivered to another building somewhere and I have no clue where my package is, or I get delivered other people's packages and I don't know how to send it back to them. So I appreciate the work you're doing and thank you.
Yeah, as I said, I also find it very much relatable and always thought if something gets delivered and I think like, well, that is not really what I wanted or what I ordered. And I think like, well, everyone involved is suffering from that, right? I have to bring it back, the costs for that. And of course, the packet is now unpacked and everything. So I always thought it was also a big problem, and particularly here in Germany. But I think also all over the world. Yeah, Sachin, thank you very much. And to the audience out there, if you find that interesting, reach out to him directly or to us and we'll connect you with him. And Sachin, hope to see you soon in Germany and also see your product here in Germany. Now,
absolutely.
Now moving on to the last two startups that we have pitching. Now, next in line is Arjun, the co-founder of Siuk. the SEOC is simplifying operations with intelligent RTLS. Arjun, can you hear me?
Hey, good evening. Yes, good afternoon, good evening.
Wonderful. We can hear you too. Do you have a presentation? Can you share it?
Yes.
Good to go?
I'm just going to share my desktop, right? And let me know once you're able to see it.
Yes, it's visible. And now loading on full screen. Now we can see it.
Good to go.
Now we're good to go.
Yes.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. So good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Arjun. I'm the co-founder and CEO at SEOC. At SEOC, we build intelligent business systems. We have a proprietary IoT platform that gives micro-location, and we work with some of the largest enterprises in India and the world. So whom do we work with, right? We started working with Unilever, which is, of course, the world's biggest FMCG company. Then moved on to Fiat Auto, where we work in one of their lines in Pune. Then worked with UPL and a number of other companies. We started working in the oil and gas sector. I'm originally from the oil and gas sector. We started working with ONGC, and Indian Railways is our latest customer. We've also worked with other companies like Fortis, which is a very famous healthcare chain, and of course the Tata Group, which is also very famous in India, right? So what is common to all these extremely large enterprises, right? Like extremely large companies? They have a number of facilities, right? And these facilities could be anything like, factories, mines, warehouses, oil rigs, hospitals in the case of Fortis, right? In all these facilities, there is a lot of operations that is going on, right? There is a lot of movement of man and material that is going on. And essentially, in its raw form, it is just chaos, right? So what we actually do is streamline operations for these customers. And how do we do it, right? The way we start doing it is we create a digital map of any facility, right? Here you can see a digital map of a factory. We track all the assets there. Assets could include people, it could include equipment in real time, right? And in real time means it's just a few seconds of latency, right? So this is another illustrative map of a coal mine where you track all the workers, where they are going, all the equipment, where they are going, and kind of carrying out their operations. So our platform is actually no code. All of these sensors feed into an IoT platform that is no code, that is completely configurable, that is modular, and that is completely cloud agnostic. So essentially what happens is, you see your facility on a map. You get real-time location of all your assets. The moment something goes wrong, something is not in compliance, you get an alert, right? And then, of course, there are a number of other features like emergency response. In case someone feels faint or somebody has an injury, there can be an alarm raised at any given point in time. Get notifications, identify trends in business. So essentially, if you look at it, it's people management, it is asset management, and it is truck management kind of a solution. What this actually gives our customers is reduce their turnaround times, improve safety, improve productivity, and improve compliance, right? All these are very important, for which there is both tangible and intangible benefits. So one of the things is, we saw a few of our customers, our platform is a product, right? So there is no customization, it's no code. So it just takes a few days to deploy at any of these facilities, right? So the deployment cycles are short, the returns are instant, and that's why customers love us. Why did we get into this? We are all from the oil field, experienced in oil field operations. So what we thought is, let's get our learnings from the oil field and productize it. So we work with some of the greatest partners in the world who give us a reach beyond our existing capability. Now, coming to my final slide, the ask, what we are looking for is a joint GTM in Germany and Europe. We would like to set up a subsidiary in the European Union. And we are planning a fundraise sometime around next March. So we would like anyone who's interested to reach out to us and take things from there. So that's all I have. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much, Jinsep, for giving us this wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much, Arjun. A question: have you identified a location within the EU, or maybe looking at Germany, also a region in Germany that is particularly interesting for you, also with regards to potential customers or contacts that you may have already?
So that is what we are hoping to do with this association with Jinsep, right? Because honestly, we don't understand much about Germany. We thought, the language barrier would be huge and insurmountable. But from what I understand, the interactions we've had in the last 1 week, the top corporates are extremely open, as long as English is the language of the corporate world over there. So that shouldn't be much of an issue, right? That was a major apprehension we had.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Tina, a question, or Klaus? Tina, go ahead.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation, pretty concise. I just wanted to ask, in terms of, you've talked on your business partner in terms of how they can monitor the operations and the costs, etc. Have you had any instances or questions as to who is being monitored, which is the end user, like say the nurses, or is there a privacy? I mean, I'm just trying to wonder, because
Absolutely,
it's almost like you're watching them all the
question.
time.
Yeah, that's a great question, right? So this always comes up, right? Trust me, because again, you are monitoring somebody, especially location at the workplace, right? So essentially, what happens in hazardous environments, in environments where there is some kind of there is some kind of danger to life, right? Like oil field, chemical factories, mines. This is pretty standard, right? In fact, I used to work on the oil rigs. To go into some places, you actually turn a card with your name on it saying, hey, I've gone inside here, right? So I'm working inside here. The safety need kind of completely overshadows the privacy part, right? The other thing is, our technology does not in any way involve a mobile device, right? It involves a tag, and the tag has a very small range of about 50 to 60 meters. So where there are no IoT gateways to pick up the signal of this tag, say I work at a factory, which is a couple of kilometers from my house, I walk out of the factory, there is no physical way to track me. And what I do on my own time is nobody's business, right? So that's the reason the customers like it. I mean, because it does not, there is a physical restriction to tracking people outside of work.
Thank you.
And Arjun, I have another question or a comment from the chat. Have you worked with big landowners and agriculturists? If not, look into it, the polar opposite of customer segment. Any comment on that?
Oh. It's quite interesting, right? One of the use cases we had got was for a huge sheep farm in New Zealand, right? And apparently in New Zealand, animal tracking is a big thing, right? So we are kind of looking into that early stages, but I mean, that's the closest we've got to land and farming and land use kind of a thing.
Well, interesting. Okay, it's also on your radar. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Arjun. And with that, we'll move to our final presentation, to our final pitch, which is Ushva, and the co-founder Ashutosh Kumar is with us, or hopefully with us now. Ashutosh, can you hear me? Okay, apparently he can't hear us yet, or we can't hear you yet. Ushva is, or they're developing smart solar inverters and industry agnostic IoT edge devices. And I see their presentation is coming in. Ashutosh, can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi, this is Visatya. I'm Ashutosh's co-founder. I'm going to do the presentation today.
Oh, okay.
Though we are the last, but not the least. And thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, wonderful. Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Then the stage is yours. 4 minutes. Counting now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. We at Ushwa have a vision of fast forwarding the world's transition to sustainable and connected infrastructure. So now, if we look at the global market trend, the IoT market will be valued at $1.5 trillion by 2027. And the number of IoT devices will be growing up to 27 billion by 2025. Okay, and if you look at the IoT enterprise spending, it is estimated to grow up to $400 billion, out of which 32% will be spent for hardware and 26% for the software. And if we look at the IoT technology market growth, it is primarily led by North America and Europe, and Asia Pacific is catching up to both these regions. So now, when we deep dive into the market further, IoT users are willing to pay for the following. And if you look at the conclusive trend, the current predominance of proprietary protocols and solution provider specific architecture is now shifting towards an open source architecture. Okay, so typically a lot of industry problems can be solved by implementation of IoT, and yet IoT adoption has its own challenges, both on technological as well as management front. So we're looking at inadequate and incomplete POCs, insufficient security measures, poor market research, and eventually what we are lacking is a encyclopedia for all possible IoT use cases. And here we are at Ushwa solving that very particular problem, which has helped us win multiple national as well as international awards. We are amongst the top 10 global hardware innovations and have also been awarded by the United Nations for the unique product developed by us. So our typical solution consists of any possible end device in terms of meters, PLCs, controllers, or sensors, which gets connected with our IoT device, which then either stores and processes the data or transfers the data over a wireless medium to on-site or cloud-based servers, wherein we give real-time monitoring as well as actionable insights in terms of SMS and email notifications. So now coming to the product, this is the product that we have built. It's a truly hardware as a platform, completely open source IoT edge device, which comes with all possible built-in connectivity in terms of 2G, 4G, NB-IoT. It supports all open source industrial protocols. It has built-in iOS. So basically you can connect all types of sensors, controllers, meters, PLCs with this device. The device also has an onboard storage to ensure zero data loss in case of network outage. And to stand true to its open source nature, the device is server agnostic. And again, as I said, it's a very compact device, the size of my fist. So either you can place it within the device or retrofit on top of any other device. So this proprietary device has its proprietary firmware built by us. And this is one of the glimpses of the dashboards that we provide to our clients. And currently, we are active in 23 different use cases, and we are scaling up in energy management, water management, and advanced train safety management system. And 80% of our customers use our IoT platform, which eventually converts into a recurring revenue stream. And currently, we're present in Asia, Europe, and Northern America, wherein all large conglomerates present in India, such as Reliance, L&T, Tata, Schneider Electric, KEC, are our active users and partners. And we've done our POCs with Airbus and currently working with few battery manufacturing companies in the US. So in terms of our future, we're looking at expanding our number of use cases as well as number of clients. And we'll also be scaling up established use cases amongst the existing clients. And we're looking forward to entering newer geographies like Germany and expand our partner base. To follow this vision and future growth, we have a capable team founded by the alumni of Best Engineering Institute of India, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, and an experienced set of team members on finance, strategy, and technological front. Currently, we're looking for funding partners as well as corporate partners to scale up our business further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Visant. Really, really interesting. I really like it. And good, you also have a first connect already in Germany through Airbus. Any particular plan for Germany or any close, like geographic-wise, anything you have identified already? What is your concrete next plan, also considering, let's say, 2022, 2023?
Right. So we're currently in discussion with few corporates, including Bosch, wherein we're planning to strategize our way ahead, as well as looking at the legalities in terms of certification and the data security part. And we're preparing a full-fledged plan wherein within next 6 months, we'll be entering into Germany next. So that's for Germany. Whereas on the product front, we are increasing our product development as well as number of use cases that we are going to deploy in the coming months. So the idea is to create a true encyclopedia for all possible IoT use cases. And actually, there are millions of use cases out there, and we would want to cover all those.
Wonderful, really impressive. So now, to the audience out there, if you're interested in what Visant and Ujva are doing, it's the perfect time to reach out to them through us or directly through his email ID that he provided here in the presentation. But also, Klaus, a question from your end?
Yeah, maybe two quick follow-up and asking you for a quick answer, maybe. Number one, what's the sweet spot for your applications? And then number two, when we look at the device, you talked about proprietary devices. Are you planning to manufacture it yourself? And can you kind of shed some light on how it's protected?
Sure. So I'll answer your first question. So typically, the device that we built is application agnostic. So before us, the typical industries deals with 15, 20, or even more number of use cases at any given point of time. And they had to deal with 15, 20 different solution providers, eventually not giving them the benefits of economies of scale. And secondly, again, working with 15, 20 vendors is again a very costly affair in terms of finances as well as time. Since when we have come into the picture, they have a one-stop solution wherein dealing with a single vendor like us, they get complete solutions in all 15 possible use cases, as well as they get a significant benefit on the economies of scale. And to answer your second question, we have partnered with multiple contract manufacturers to ensure that we never reach a bottleneck situation.
Okay. That's it. Klaus, any other follow-up questions? We're good? Okay, Visant, thank you very, very much for this. And that was number 20 of the startup pitches that we had today. Quite a packed day. We split it up in two groups. The first in the morning, now, what was it? 5 hours back we started, no, 4 hours back we started with the first 8 startups. And some speakers, some presentations also in the morning. And now we had 12 other startups. So basically these were the 2 batches of the digital delegation that we conducted together with CFA International and the GIZ now in this fall. And that was the 4th startup delegation, virtual delegation that we're doing since COVID. Everything is virtual, and we try to optimize it a little by the sessions, and we got really good feedback. So a big thank you to all the partners out there that supported us, to all the mentors that supported us. Of course, the main partners, CFA International and GIZ for this, but also to the mighty Startup Hub and NASCOM, Invest India as well. And of course also Tina, who has joined us today, Klaus. Earlier we had Ferdinand and Maren there as well in the morning. Also big thank you to the factory in Berlin, our host where we are here in the studio now. It's been a great experience. We also got lots of good feedback from the company, so really feel that we are on the right track and really doing something good. But eventually time will tell how impactful and how effective everything will be. So I hope to see you, the startups, there in the next months, hopefully also personally in Germany or maybe also in India when traveling allows us to meet, and hope, of course, for lots of productive and fruitful meetings that you'll have now in the course of the next weeks and months. and hope that these delegation tours could really enable you with some information and could introduce you to some people. We'll do our best to also promote the startups and the opportunities further through our channels, through our website, and on LinkedIn. To the audience there, please follow us, follow Ginsep on LinkedIn. There we'll share information on the startups again. We'll share information, opportunities to meet startups, to also engage in further events. And yeah, that's it. That's it from my side for today. I wish you all the best. Please stay healthy in these difficult times, and stay safe and healthy, and take care, and hopefully see you very, very soon. Over and out from Berlin.